Hello everybody, how you all doing? My name is Rafael and welcome to today's video. Today's video is going to be a little bit different, and that's because it will not be about PvE but about PvP. This is the first, I think, video that I make on my channel regarding PvP builds. I'm not very good at it. I'm not a good PvP player. I'm just now starting to, test different sort of builds, see what the meta is, trying to get the meta builds, test them out, see how they work, see if I'm good with them, and things like that. The PvP aspect of this game is definitely something new to me. I'm not good at it. I'm just a beginner, and there are plenty of better content creators out there that can show you the best PvP builds, that can show you the metas, that can give you much better tips than I do. However, I thought that it would be interesting to document my progress throughout the PvP scene in the game. And I'm saying this because before title update 17 I would enter the dark zones, but I wouldn't take it very serious. I would just jump in there, clear a couple of landmarks, go rogue, get my ass kicked, die a couple of times, and then I would just log off. But now with the Eagle Bear coming into the dark zones, and with so many PvE players entering the dark zones, I think that the experience inside the dark zones is completely different. And I've been farming landmarks for about 5 with 6 hours ever since the title update 17 came out. I know that's not a lot, but recently I haven't had a lot of free time. But to my experience, dark zones are different than they used to. And that's because most of the people that I meet inside the dark zones are not in there to, go rogue and kill people, but are in there in order to farm for their exotics. Obviously, you will find servers that are filled with PvP players and all hell will break loose. However, to my experience, most of the servers that I joined are really chill, really cool. Of course, there are rogue players. I'm not saying that there are no rogue players. There are rogue players, but have found plenty of people who are in there to farm. And when somebody goes rogue on the server, all the PvE players, you see them group up and either farm together or go after the manhunts or the rogues. And then once they make sure that the rogues or the manhunts are dead, they go back to farming. So for those reasons, I've decided that I want to get more into the PvP part of the game. So of course I had to put a couple of builds together. The build that I will show you today is very standard. I think it used to be something like a meta back in the day. I don't know. But I've seen a lot of players who kicked my ass run with this build over here. So after getting killed again from this build, I farmed for it and I managed to put it together. And I can tell you that even though I will still die a lot of times when I go up against other players, this is definitely a very viable option for solo players who just want to go inside the dark zones, farm for their exotics, and have a build that they can count on keeping them alive in case another agent decides to go rogue. Now the thing about PvP, from my understanding, for those little few hours that I've played and I've been inside the dark zone, is that there isn't such thing as the best build, if that makes sense, because depending on what the other player has, your build will perform either very good or very poorly. For example, the Heartbreaker PvP build that I've tried out in the past was great against players who didn't have pulse resistance. However, as soon as somebody came and had even 40 or 50% pulse resistance to their build, I was instantly dead. And from other people that I've talked with, and I'm talking about people who are only PvP players and really know what the fuck is going on, what they told to me was that this is not like Division 1 where you could put on a 6-piece striker with 9k stamina or whatever and make sure you can compete with everything. Division 2 PvP is very different from Division 1, and that's because playing all by yourself isn't really as viable and as good as it used to be in Division 1. So yeah, I don't want to waste more of your time. I'm working on a couple of other builds that I haven't really seen in the Dark Zone before. I'm trying out some of my own ideas, see how they work. If they end up being good, of course, I will share them with you in a video probably next week or the week after that. But for now, let's see what we have here. As I said, this build helped me survive. It has great power, it has great survivability, and I've seen others run with it as well and literally melt other players. So let's see what we got. We have 5 blue core attributes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 2 red core attributes, 1 from the chest piece and 1 from the Picaro's holster. I used to have 3 red core attributes and 4 blue core attributes. This mask over here used to be this one, right? However, I felt like I wanted some more armor, and I got a better mask. I think it all comes down to what you personally prefer. So try both of them and see what suits you best. Now, when we go to our stats, you see we have 53.1% critical hit chance, which can be increased a lot, I think, by another 3 with 4%. And that's because, as you will see later on the video, my rolls are not all maxed out. So we have room for improvement here. 100.2% critical hit damage and 82.4% headshot damage. From my understanding, headshot damage is actually quite important in PvP because you obviously want to go for that headshot damage because it will give you best damage and because it can make all the difference between dying and surviving if the other guy you're going up against with has a very similar build or is a pretty good player as well, and it all comes down to those few bullets which made the difference. So I think having some headshot damage on your builds is also pretty good. Now let's look at what brand sets we're going with. We have 2 Walker Harris pieces for the 5% weapon damage and the 5% damage to armor. We want the damage to armor in order to kill enemies faster. Armor core attribute, headshot damage, critical hit chance gear mod. Second piece of Walker Harris is the backpack, which is the name Matador. The reason that we're going for the name Matador is the perfect adrenaline rush. Whenever you are within 10 meters of an enemy, gain 23% bonus armor for 5 seconds, stacks up to 3 times, cooldown is 5 seconds. This talent over here is great because it gives you that 23% bonus armor, and I find it to be even better when you're going up against 2 or 3 players, which most likely, at least me personally, I'm not gonna be able to survive or kill all 3 of them. However, getting that 23% bonus armor for each enemy close to me means that if I'm going up against 3 guys, I'm getting much more bonus armor, and it gives me a few extra chances of surviving the encounter, so to say. It gives me more survivability and helps me balance things out a little bit. It's not guaranteed that it will help you survive, however, it has saved my asses quite a lot of times, so it's a backpack that I 100% recommend. My rolls here, of course: armor core attribute, critical hit damage, critical hit chance, 12% critical hit damage. As I told you, we have room for more critical hit chance, 1.4% over here, for example. Moving on to the gloves, we have the name Petrov Defense Group gloves, the Contractor's gloves, and the reason for that is I want the 8% damage to armor. Blue core attribute, as you can see here, 170k armor and another 11% critical hit damage attribute. On my knee pads, we have the Fox Sprayers with a blue core attribute, 8% damage targets out of cover, which is really important, and a 9.5% explosive resistance. If I'm being honest with you, this over here is not as I would like it to be. I would prefer to have headshot damage, critical hit chance, whatever. The 9.5% explosive damage I don't really care about, but it's the best that I can get for now. My other Fox Sprayer knee pods really are not any better, so I said whatever, let's go with that. Moving on to the holster, as I told you, we have the Pickers holster, and that's because it pretty much offers us 2 core attributes: the blue core attribute over here and the 15% weapon damage perfect roll. So it's a really nice piece. Third attribute, of course, is the 12% critical hit damage. The last piece on the build is my Fenris Group AB chest piece. If you want to use an SMG, I would recommend you to get a Sokolov Concern piece. 10% assault rifle damage, 15% weapon damage, 12% critical hit damage, 5.5% critical hit chance, and another 6% critical hit chance gear mod. And on my talent slot, I have Unbreakable, when your armor is depleted, repair not 95 but 50%. Let me actually, there we go. When your armor is depleted, repair 50% of your armor. Cooldown is 60 seconds. So that basically means, as you can see, we have 1.7 million armor. Half of that is 850k. 850k plus 1.7 million armor means that we're sitting at 2.5 million armor, right? So I think that's a great number. When it comes to my weapons, my primary and the weapon that I will be using the most is the FAMAS. As you can see, is expertise level 12. You want to have that as high as possible. I'm only level 12 on my expertise. Oh, I know, I'm so behind. Everyone else is already 20. I don't care. I'm taking things slow. I haven't done any particular farm for my expertise levels to go up. So I'm just playing the game and donating whatever I farm. So yeah, 12% weapon damage from my expertise, and another 15% assault rifle damage from the core attribute, 14.5% health damage, 10% damage outside of cover. And the talent that I found out to work best, at least for me, is measured. The top half magazine has 20% rate of fire and minus 30% weapon damage. The bottom half of the magazine has minus 20% rate of fire and 30% total weapon damage. Now, I want to point out that the gameplay that you watched earlier, it wasn't with the measured talent, it was with Optimus, because that was what I was using earlier a couple of days ago. However, since I changed to measured, I find it to be better, or at least I personally prefer it. I don't know if it's best when it comes to damage numbers and DPS, if I'm being honest, but I'm having more fun with it, and that's why I decided to go with it. Secondary is a carbine, which theoretically, now that the busy little bee has gotten nerfed, by the way, it's a silent nerf, even though it doesn't says it here. This 20% weapon damage increase no longer applies. This has been nerfed down to 2% weapon damage per stack. So the whole tactic of shooting your busy little bee once or twice, getting 2 stacks, get 40% extra weapon damage, and then change to your primary and melt everyone in front of you isn't longer viable, simply because that 40% weapon damage now has gone down to 4% or 2%, depending on how many stacks you got. I know that some of you might not have heard of this, and that's because the devs haven't mentioned it actually. However, it has been addressed on the Trello board. Let me actually find it real quick so I can put it on your screen. There you go. Busy little bit talents damage per stack value is now 2% in PvP environments. So this idea is dead. So what you can do is pretty much change to your secondary to an exotic. I would probably go with Lady Death. However, I don't think that I'm going to be using it a lot, simply because I really enjoy playing with my FAMAS. But yeah, it is what it is. For my skills, I really haven't been able to decide. I've tried out the decoy, I've tried out shields, I've tried out foam, I've tried out the defender drone, I've tried out a lot of things. The one skill that I'm a really big fan of is the defender drone. I don't know why, I just feel like it gives me a lot of extra survivability, even though the PvP damage reduction is just 10%. When it comes to the secondary skill, I think it really comes down to what you're going up against with. I found the decoy to be very useful when you play against mostly PvE players who don't really have an idea what's going on around them. And then I found the foam to be a good option when you're going up against players who just like to sprint around you in circles again, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Like they just finished snorting like 6 lines of G Fuel and 3 coffees in just the last 2 minutes, and now they're all hyped and can't control themselves. Like, it's crazy how these people run around. But yeah, it really depends on the situation, so feel free to pick whatever you like. Now, if you have any suggestions down below in the comment section, please make sure to leave a comment with them. Let me know what you would change in this build or other build suggestions. Right now, I'm trying to work a PvP build which offers both high heals and high damage, but it's been tricky. I don't know if it can be done. I've been testing out a lot of things. I've been testing out a lot of brand sets, and I'm having fun, but until now at least I haven't been able to pull it off. So if you have any suggestions, please make sure to leave a comment down below and let me know. Now, that's it pretty much, guys. Thank you for watching today's video. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Bye bye.